Then the lights went out. He turned and felt Arisi's hands slide along either side of his chest, then close gently around his neck. Corran felt her body press against his, and the feather-light brush of her lips on his forehead, nose, and lips. She pulled him close and again dropped her mouth to his, kissing him with the fierce passion they'd shared in the grand hall. Making no conscious decisions to do so, he let his arms enfold her. His left hand slipped beneath the hem of her jacket and gently stroked her back. His right hand came up and held the back of her head. He breathed in deeply, filling his nose with the spicy scent of her perfume. As she broke off their kiss, arching her head back, he traced his tongue from the hollow of her throat to her earlobe. Arisi lazily pulled him along with her as she slowly drifted toward the room's bed. Corran understood her intention and realized he should have resisted the temptation she offered. Rational arguments tried to trip a circuit breaker in his brain, but they all failed. Operational security wasn't important, because if the Imperials decided to take them, there was no way for them to elude capture. Sleeping together or separately would not save them if the Empire knew enough about them to know where to find them. Both of them being members of Rogue Squadron was no bar to involvement. Noara Ven and Rasati Ener had fallen in love, and that had not proved an impediment to their skills and performance. Corran and Arisi were of legal age, sound mind, and both consented to what they were about to do. Even the fact that the two of them were from different worlds and different cultures had no bearing on what they were going to do. That we are here now is all that matters. The word now began to ricochet around in his skull, releasing all sorts of memories. When he'd been in Corsac, he'd heard his father, or Gil Bastra, or himself tell rookies that most criminals were stupid because they lived for now. Living for now meant they didn't look ahead to the consequences of their actions. They didn't take precautions, didn't plan, and as a result, what they did fell apart on them. Things went deeper than just that as well. He remembered his father weeping on the anniversary of the death of Corran's mother.
One of the reasons she was a good woman, wife, and mother was because she didn't think about herself first. Not a selfish bone in your mother's body. Everyone else came first, and what she wanted was saved for later because we needed her now. And now she has no more later. And there seems little reason in having a later without her.
Arisi stopped moving backward, and Corran felt the foot of the bed against his shins. She slowly sank back on the bed and drew him down with her. He resisted slightly, lowering her softly onto the quilted coverlet. He saw her in the soft shades of gray from the dim light splashing in through the window. She was a seductive vision, a dream made real and warm, and he fought to use that image to quiet the thoughts raging through his mind. Powerful though that image was, a feeling of disaster dissolved it. Corran remembered his own relief at not sleeping with Ayala back when he was with Corsac, because, aside from destroying her marriage, the affair would have changed forever their relationship. The friendship and trust they had developed working together could have never been reclaimed. It was true that they might have stuck together and been stronger for getting together, but their attraction had been as much circumstantial as it had been real, which made for a poor foundation for any permanent relationship.
And this is circumstantial too.
Corran heard Mirax on Noquivzor telling him that Arisi would not be good for him, and he'd seen how truly different they were as they came into Coruscant. He'd developed doubts about any relationship with her then, And this situation now did not invalidate those doubts.
She's attractive, and I'm attracted, but something is not right here.
Something inside him felt very wrong. His father had told him countless times to trust his feelings and to play his hunches. Corran had taken his father's advice and had learned to live by what he felt, or to later regret going against those feelings. He had gone against his gut feelings before, and with much less in the way of inducement to do so. But those situations had never turned out right in the end. Corran let himself fall forward, but he kept his elbows locked and held his chest and head above Irisi.
I can't.
Irisi flashed him a shadowed smile.
I think you're doing just fine. Seriously, I can't.
He bent his right arm and flopped down on his flank beside her.
It isn't going to work.
Rolling up on her side, she reached over and stroked his cheek.
What's wrong? What did I do wrong?
It's not you. He took her hand and kissed her palm.
It's not that I'd like nothing better than to be here with you, but this is just now, Corran. I need this. You need this. It won't change who we are. No obligations, no recriminations, no regrets.
Her words poured soothingly into his ears. He had no doubt she meant them, and that they would be true for her.
I hear you, Irisi, and I believe you, but I don't know that I'd be able to leave it in the past. It might not change who we are or what we mean to each other, but I'd bet against it, given my past history. As I said, it's not you, it's me.
He rolled onto his back, then sat up.
You have to figure I'm an idiot. We've gotten very close a number of times, and I keep pulling back.
He felt her hand on his back as she sat up beside him.
Actually, while it is frustrating, I do find this hesitation one of your more endearing qualities.
Decisiveness in men is so off-putting, after all. Irisi laughed easily.
Your sense of humor is attractive as well. Except when you use it as a shield. Sorry?
She kissed his shoulder.
You see, Corran, few are the men who allow their emotions to have a part in their decision-making process. Most are expediently logical. Emotions motivate them, but do not guide them. With most men, there would be no hesitation. If emotions were going to come into play, it would be afterward. Your ability to factor emotions into your choices ahead of time makes you rather unique and worth pursuing.
Or a big waste of time.
Not so far.
I'm just warming up. You'll see. Give me time. Irisi sighed beside him.
Perhaps that is the best idea right now, no matter what we think we want. What we need is time alone.
He smiled in the direction of her silhouette.
How can you be so logical? Aren't you supposed to be feeling scorned right now? Perhaps I should, but then I don't always allow myself to be ruled by emotions.
She shrugged.
We've just come to a decision to postpone making a decision about us and the nature of our relationship. Depending upon the decision made, I might be scorned, but I don't think that emotion is worthy of either one of us.
Corran nodded.
Yeah, you're right there, on both counts. Well, I'll leave you here then.
No. Corran reached over and squeezed her leg just above the knee.
I'm fairly used to taking walks to sort things out. I've got a key, so I can let myself back in. I don't know when I'll get back. I'll head out and get some food. I should be here when you get back. Unless some Hapen princeling comes along and sweeps me away to make me the queen of some distant planet. Then won't you be sorry?
Actually, I think I would be. Corran stood, then leaned down and kissed her on the forehead. Thanks for understanding.
Thank you for letting me understand.